Hey guys, it's Ellen and welcome to my channel. I got some new art supplies. I got this cool new watercolor sketchbook and a new brush, so I thought I'd do a tutorial on this and just playing and doing a stress-free doodle again. These are so much fun to do. Super simple, and it's always fun to buy new supplies and test them out and try them out and see how they work. I really like this number 6 Princeton Velvet Long Round series brush. It creates nice little beautiful fine lines and this kind of cool weird kind of long watercolor sketchbook from Strathmore. I purchased on my own. It's not an ad, so let's check it out. Also, check out my other channel, my acrylic art channel. I have art demos there that are fun, just using palette knife and brushes and lots of thick acrylic paint. There's a little link for this in the upper right hand corner. It's just another little outlet of mine, and I love painting with acrylics, and I thought you might like to see my other channel. So without further ado, let's get painting. So like I said, I got some new art supplies because why not? I always like to buy new things and try out new stuff. There's always this weird, I think it's weird, it's just kind of shape and size. It's a 3x9" Strathmore watercolor travel pad. This is 100% cotton, by the way. I like the other sketchbook. I have a tutorial on the wildflower sketch you can see like from last week. And so I think let's try this pad. It's kind of odd shape, right? I don't know how great it's going to be. It doesn't have a super tooth. It has like a little fine tooth, so it's not really like the other pad that I have. This one has a little more of a tooth, kind of similar, but actually they're kind of similar. And then I also got a Princeton 6 long round. I'm like, I use the 8 all the time. Let's try something really smaller and skinnier. I think I had a 6 for a small round brush, but never just a long round brush. And when you get something like weird like this, you have to really kind of be creative. What the heck are you gonna paint on it? Would you paint something that goes horizontal or vertical? My brain just naturally goes vertical with this. It kind of looks like a bookmark, right? I mean, this could be kind of a cool, and it has perforated edge right here, so you could just take it off like a bookmark. So if you wanted to paint this for somebody, this is a whole book, bookmarks. You might want to laminate it so it doesn't get destroyed for a bookmark. If you have a laminator, I think maybe you can spray it with matte medium, but still it might get dirty. So, or just like have these really cool, just paint a bunch of these going across, like a diptych or triptych, or, use four panels, and then you can just frame that. It's kind of interesting. So since my brain is going vertical, right, I've already activated my paints. I'm just going to play with whatever I have. I always activate my paints with the spray bottle, by the way. I had thought maybe also I found this old, ink jar. I was cleaning out my desk, and I might use the fountain pen ink nib. I might not. Don't hold me to it. I like to intuitively paint, which means as I go, I figure it out, right? So long vertical, I'm thinking like grass, or it could be a tree. I mean, there's so many possibilities, right? It could be something, think of something that are long and linear. If you were doing 4th of July, it could be a nice flagpole with some stuff on here. You generally think about, and you actually don't have to think of it as a long linear kind of drawing. You could basically just map out a bunch of different things. Like you can put a bunch of different flowers and fruit. It could be carrots. I don't know. Let's just play, right? So I've got this long round number 6, and I'm gravitating towards grasses. Maybe like it's in the field. So I have this idea in my brain. That's how I think. So I'm just mixing up some greens. I've got my cadmium deep, and I'm mixing up some peacock with this, peacock blue. All the paints are always in the description box. So people ask, well, what did you use? It's always there. They're the words, they're the description, and then these words on the left-hand side, they say show more, and there's a little V under there. You click on that, and the whole box drops down with all links to where you can purchase them. I purchased this one on Jerry's Artorama, but I will put a link in for it for Amazon, because I don't know if too many people can get it overseas or wherever they live in the same places that we can get them. So mixing my greens. I'm going to mix several greens. Actually, now I was thinking of doing grasses, but I might add some ferns. Because I was just walking in my backyard in my trees and I saw a bunch of ferns already grown. So I'm grabbing some Prussian blue with some peacock and some yellow, and I got a deeper green here. And it's always nice to add like a little brown. Generally, I like to mix my paints with a kind of a crappy brush, but we're just going to play around with this first because I just have a brand new brush. I don't want to wreck it. So let's just play around with the greens. It's long, round. I'm going to have to hold it at an angle. I can do two different ways. I can go like this, or I can go like this. I'm going to go like this first. It's going to make these beautiful skinny little lines. Perfect. Basically go doodle sketch. Let's add some deeper greens. Maybe more brighter green. I'm gonna add some more of this peacock blue. I'm just playing around with blades of grass. You know, like the fish tutorial that I showed you, doodling. Same premise here. You can just paint some lighter colors or deeper colors and lighter ones on top. We're going to do that too. And we're just going to play around with what happens when you paint on top of each other, with the whole layering of technique. So here I'm doing this like chartreusey kind of green. See, I went linear. You have something new, you don't know what to do with it, you just play. I'm playing around with different sketchbooks. I'm going to be bringing these sketchbooks to my retreat in France this September. I'll be doing a watercolor exploration retreat, and it's sold out for now, but I have a new one I'll be announcing tomorrow. First to my patrons, and then to the public a week later if it's still not full. So if you're ever interested in learning about my retreats, Patreon would be the first place to go because that's where I give all the information first. All right, so we're going to let this dry a little bit, but in the meantime, you can start playing around with this. I love this brush. It's got a great point. I said I love this brush because of the point. I mean, you can get a real delicate, really skinny little lines. Oh, yeah. This is the fun part, guys. So you can make some really super, like if you were doing those fall trees with just the branches, this is the perfect brush to get. Look at that. Just intricate little lines I'm doing. I love it. This is why playing with new brushes is fun. It shouldn't be intimidating. And how you do that is you just take out the brushes and grab some paint and play around. So I did that little, kind of funky branch here. I might keep it green. I might add some flowers to it. So these are kind of fairly dry. Now I can go over this with the color I was talking about earlier, the layering technique. The way the layering technique works, it has to be kind of really loose watercolor. See how loose this is? It's almost like tea. Oh, by the way, I always have my paper towel close by. So then we can just take that, water it down a little bit more. And we're going to go over on top of that. See? Right on top of the pale yellow one. And where the two meet, see how it got darker? I just love this technique. But it has to be kind of really thin watercolor, not thick, to do this technique. And you can see the two differences. Right? Let me zoom in so you can see better. See when it's layered? Like, watch. I'll just grab just some peacock blue with a little bit of yellow, so it's more of a turquoise. And it will change color as it hits that green. Right? A little bit of blue. I'm actually in this blue phase, right? What's weird? I wonder why. Maybe because I was at the beach yesterday. Or I just think about it all the time. Because I love the beach. And there's so much lush green out in my backyard right now because we've had some really good rain and some lots of sun, and it hasn't been too hot. If this, you don't want to paint the second page, I'm going to lift this page up and then paint down on my table. That way you don't wreck the page behind it. See, that's what I'm going to do. Just lift it up. So I like this turquoisey kind of color. It's a little muted because I've added some yellow to it. Now they're all kind of going straight up. Again, with this whole layering technique, wait till it dries a little bit. I'm going to water down that dark green one that I had. And you can start to make some that kind of bend. You know, they don't all have to go straight up. I'm going to make this color a little bit darker. Again, playing around with the colors here. Adding a little brown. Watering it down a little bit. So now this was a little too wet. It wasn't dry, so it has a little cauliflower bleeding effect. But that's okay. Let's try it here. And see, when it's a little bit thicker and it's not as translucent, it just becomes opaque on top of there. So if you add more water, it's really wet. You might want to tap it on a paper towel to get the excess off your brush. And then you can go layer it. Bend that little blade of grass. So we have a triple layer going on here in this section. Just lots of fun. Just playing with the paintbrush and the paint. Again, this is just stress-free, mindless doodling. We're just painting blades of grass. And then what you do with those blades of grass can be very interesting. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I'm grabbing some more peacock blue, mixing in that green that I had there. Let's just get really kind of funky with this stuff. You can add some yellow. All right, I don't want to crowd it too much. I like the white in between. So now what I mean by making it more interesting, I'm going to grab some of this Prussian blue and the yellow. So I have a deeper green here again. But I am going to water this down. And then tap it on a paper towel, take off the excess. So we can do patterns within patterns again. So we have that beautiful turquoisey kind of grass blade, and you just put some lines going in there. You can make some nice really tiny lines with this brush. Right? Go on this blade of grass. Skinny little lines going down. They're ever so faint. You can barely even see them. If you want them more predominant, maybe get thicker with the paint. I had some more blue. It's a darker green. So like this one, you can really see. I kind of outlined it. You could do different kind of stripes in them. Just, it's, again, I'm playing, okay? Even little dots. I'm putting little dots. This is still kind of wet. Little dots on that one. And they're kind of bleeding. Some are kind of dry, so it looks like lines. You can put little lines. Just going across. This is just a subtle pattern in the grass. And then I'll add some more turquoise color ones and the yellow. Maybe just put a line right next to it. Subtle, right? It's already created some really cool patterns. And then I'm going to let a lot of this dry. I did want to incorporate some of this verdtier blue that I have here. Maybe we can put a bug. How about a dragonfly? Right? In the picture, where would it go? So I'm grabbing a little pencil. Maybe he's up here. So I might want to sketch it in. And I like 2H pencils because they're very light. So if you don't like it, you can kind of erase it and you won't see it. So maybe I put him like right here. Okay, so I've sketched where I want it to go. And you can barely see it. But you're going to see me paint it. I'm going to lift this back up. I'm not going to paint the edge anymore. So I'm just doing some little pale blue wings. I want the colors to feel very soothing, so I'm going back to this blue family. But again, if you're in a hot mood, you can have the blades of grass and throw in some nice pretty oranges. So this isn't really verdtier blue, it's kind of muted down with the colors that are on my brush, which is perfectly fine. I can get it a little bit. It is a little tricky to paint when you have the skinny tippy long brush. To do rounded, you have to manipulate it by going like this. Okay, and then I'm thinking, okay, we got to do a little purple, right? So I'll have my ultramarine blue here, and I'll add bright rose. It makes a beautiful purple. And the more pink you have, the more pinky purple, the more blue, vice versa. I can add some verdtier blue on that and see what happens. Ooh, nice. So the body, I'm gonna make purple. I'm just making really skinny, kind of rounded head up here. Dragonfly. He's not something like super predominant, although you're gonna go right to him because why? Everything else is green and he's blue. And we're gonna finagle with this little skinny brush on his wings, the little webbing stuff. So now you've got this cute little dragonfly and your eye is going all the way up to this color because it's all there. You might want to pick this color and bring it back down. So I'm grabbing that purple, just kind of putting it in here like grass. Now where I've hit some of the green, it's going to turn brown, but that's okay. Where it's not, you're going to see that bright purple again. Just going to put it in here. And your eye is now going up and down, up and down. It's not just go right to the dragonfly. This is how you make your composition interesting for the viewer. Adding a little purple. And then I take the verdtier blue without, I have a dirty brush. And maybe I'll put some little dots on those blades of grass. Just right out of the tube. Look how interesting that looks. This is the stuff I talk about when you're just de-stressing. Add little dots, little lines. I could add some just straight out line in here. Some down in here. Now it's becoming more interesting with the grass. I know this is one note, right? And I could add little teeny blue verdtier blue flowers on all these little branches. So it's a very delicate, kind of like a wildflower that you created. Because what's the dragonfly doing hanging out there? They like the flowers. So just a very simple color palette, just greens and blues again. And you can throw in, just for the heck of it, an orange. Blue and orange are opposites. They complement each other. So things will stand out if you just throw an orange in there, a coral color. See, you have all that. I'm going to do that to you right now. What do you think I'm going to do there? So I have this color, cadmium red light. I'll add a little of that yellow to it. Now it's bright orange. I want more of a coral color. I'm going to add some of that bright rose. Getting there. A little more yellow. Playing around with this color. Okay. Gonna water this down. It's a little bit more yellow. Alright, so maybe it's orangey yellow. I'm not quite getting my color. It happens to the best of us. Trust me, I'm gonna have to take out some of this color. Go back in and add that bright rose. Alright, I have to water it down to see my color. Also what helps is if you have a little piece of scrap after you water it down. I'm looking a little too pink again. Gonna have to add some yellow. more yellow. All right, there we go. Now I just water this down. I'm gonna do a little ladybug. You didn't think I was gonna do that, huh? So she's kind of hanging out right here on the blade of grass. So now you've drawn your eye back down to a little ladybug. She doesn't have a head yet. I'm gonna put that in a bit. But you see, boom, boom, boom. So now with the wings, you can go back in with deeper color. You could use black or dark blue. I'm grabbing some Prussian blue, and I'll just put in the little veins of the wings. I don't want black because then it's really harsh. It's not as subtle. Just a line down and a couple of lines from it. I could use neutral tint or just navy blue and do like the little antennae. And then for the dragonfly itself, maybe concentrated purple and just do little dashes going along the body just to make it interesting. All right, the ladybug, I would do neutral tint or whatever, black, gray, whatever you want, and just do like a little head here, just a little round there. And then once that's dry, you can put the little dots in. A little black. Mine's not quite dry, but I'm playing with it anyway. So it's bleeding a little bit, but that's okay. So this didn't take much time at all, did it? It's very relaxing. I do want to put in a fern. So I'm going to make the fern. What I have to do in order to make it, you can see it, is I have to make this thicker paint. Minimal water. So I've added yellow to my peacock blue. Maybe a little more yellow. Let's see. That's more peacock blue. It might not be dark enough. It might be too dark. So I'm just going to put one here, kind of going like this. So it's a line curving, and then you kind of go down and there's like a triangle. You just wiggle, wiggle the little lines, and you get longer as you're going further down. See, just wiggling out. Now I might go over this, because I feel like it's not dark enough. I'm just wiggling the lines. Wiggle, wiggle with the brush. And they get a little smaller. So I'm going to go back and add some Prussian blue. So you really see the fern. And it's just me with this line going down in the middle on a curve, and then just do these little wiggle lines, and they should get a little bit bigger as you go on the bottom. It's really simple, right? You could put a little half one, kind of peeking here. Kind of curl the top, maybe a little bit darker. And maybe do another little small one here. I like to do things in threes, so. And that's that. We've created kind of like a little foresty. Put some grass again. Now, you didn't have to do this. I just decided to add it. And maybe I'll add some deep dark green to some of these blades of grass, just to have them stand out a little more. And this is just playing with new supplies. I'm going to make some more colors here. I feel like the yellow is just kind of, it needs a little fun out here. So I'm going to go crisscross. Some more grass up here. And you can make some curlicues. Adding all this kind of fun stuff. Curlicues with little things coming off the back. So this is my little stress-free tutorial on new supplies and just playing. Woohoo! Just play, guys. You don't have to stress out about watercolor. It should be fun. You know, just to make it a little more interesting, you can take your neutral tint and do like little dash lines like A's been flying through the grass. And that's that. That is our experiment with this fun watercolor sketchbook. You could add more bugs. Maybe you want to add more dragonflies or more ladybugs, but I just put those one in. You could add a sky in the background. Do whatever you want. So let me know what you think about this kind of doodle kind of situation. And I really want you to encourage to get new supplies. I don't think this was expensive. I can't remember how much it was. And it's fun to play with something that challenges you, right? A linear, vertical piece of paper. What do I do with that? So like I said, you can just do something that's linear like this, or it could have just been all a bunch of dragonflies and ladybugs. I might go back at my ladybug and make her a little bit darker on the side here. But that's what you do. You play with brushes and paints. Now I love this Princeton 6 long round. Really, really, really tiny. Beautiful little branches. Oh, you can have so much fun with this. I'll be using this brush more often. All right, guys. Yeah, leave a comment below if you're into the doodling thing and just playing with new supplies. And what have you bought recently that you are really excited about? I'd love to hear what you're excited about. I have some other ideas of things that I want to buy too. I could buy a million supplies, but I have to kind of keep in control, I can just do this all day. Thank you so much for stopping by. Again, so I said, don't forget to check out my acrylic channel. The link is in the description box, also in my homepage there. I just have fun acrylic demos using brushes and palette knives and thick acrylic paint. You don't really need necessarily me to talk about it. You just see me just slapping the paint down and playing with the brushes and stuff. It's just something that I like to do. If I did a talking one, it would be way more work than I can handle right now. So I appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for stopping by, and take care, and I'll speak to you soon.